It's all about sassy masked men this week. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. So we tried doing the TikTok live, and shout out to Fiend Warrior 39 for testing to see how the quality was looking. It was looking pretty nice. You know, I got it set up and everything. I was excited to do it, but my internet connection was very shitty. So yeah, I need to invest on an internet cable. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, like once I get that, maybe next week or the week before, because next week, I don't know if there's going to be a podcast episode. And the only reason why I say that is because next week on Sunday is going to be the Deftones concert here in Houston. And I'm going, and I'm like, I mean, to be fair, I gotta, like, if I really want to do this podcast episode, I have to do it, like, early in the freaking ass morning. And the worst part, in case you guys probably weren't aware, we had the time change. So instead of us gaining an hour, we actually lost an hour. So technically speaking, so let's say it's noon, it should have been 11 o'clock. But no, because of the time switch, yeah, we're like an hour ahead of everything. So I'm like, great, that's fun. But yeah, next week, I don't know, there might be, there might not be. I don't want to make any promises because at the same time, you know, depending how hectic it might or might not be, there may be a podcast episode. May, keyword. So there's that. But other than that, this week, I feel like we don't have a lot. But because of everything that's been happening with the music industry, especially with Ghost and Sleep Token, we have a lot of things to talk about. Just on particularly those two categories. That's why I'm like, it's all about the sassy masked men this week. So yes, this week we're going to be talking about Ghost's new song, Satanize, along with their new upcoming album, Skeleta, that's also going to be joined with the Skeletor. Alongside with that, we're going to be talking about the new teasing from Sleep Token, and that includes, you know, Morse code coordinates leading up to images, and then possibly new music. So there's that. And then we're also going to be talking about what happened at the Oscars last week and more wrestling news. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. I find it crazy that I only have 3 things in the movies category that I need to talk about. First things first, let's talk about anime. Demon Slayer. We finally got the release date of when the Infinity Castle arc is going to be premiering in theaters. And that day happens to be way after the Japanese release date. What do I mean by that? In case if you guys have seen some of the videos of the trailer of what's going to be happening in Infinity Castle, it was all in Japanese. So next thing we know, if we saw the date correctly, we could have sworn that the movie was going to be released sometime in July this year. But again, it was all in Japanese. Then all of a sudden, we finally got the release date along with the English dub trailer. Meaning that, yeah, we're going to have a completely different date. And that will happen to be on September 12th, 2025. Oh my God, why? At this point, I'm thinking about booking a flight to Japan and just watch it in July. Even though I already know what's gonna happen. If you guys have not read the manga, just know we are all not ready for what's coming up in Infinity Castle. And this is just part 1 of what, maybe 3 of what's gonna be happening on Demon Slayer just to wrap up the whole series. I'm telling you guys. Get the Kleenex ready while you can. Either way, I think I'm planning to rewatch all the Demon Slayer episodes just to keep me entertained until Infinity Castle comes out. So I'm excited. Now let's go ahead and move it along. I know it's been a while since we talked shit about Scream and Scream 7. So I have something to tell you guys. Now joining into this whole cast that doesn't make any sense, we're gonna be getting David Arquette coming back in this upcoming movie. And if you guys have not seen Scream 5, go watch it so you can understand my frustration. The only Scream movie I still haven't seen is the most recent one, which is Scream 6. But still, it does not make any sense. So now, if I think about it, and I probably mentioned it before whenever we talked about Matthew Lillard and Scott Foley joining into the franchise, I feel like they're going to be coming back as flashbacks or something, because ain't no way they're going to pull a Fast and the Furious with Scream. All I got to say is I'm going to be so pissed if they all of a sudden come back from the dead. Like, no, come on. Either way, I am so curious to watch this movie. And tell me why I'm looking at the post from Deadline. Like on the comment section, one person literally commented, quote, "I had to fake my death to make sure you were safe." And I'm like, would that make sense? But again, how would you explain Roman and Stu? Either way, let's not forget that Scream 7 is planned to release on February 27 in 2026. We got a couple months more to go, and hopefully whenever the trailer does get released, we get to talk about it. And then again, eventually I will put in my thoughts and theories, so I don't want to jump to conclusions just yet. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along to the last thing I have for you guys in the movies category, and that is who won at the Oscars this year. I'm not going to dive into every single category. I'm only going to pick a few of them and talk about, my thoughts of, why they won and stuff like that. For example, Best Visual Effects. We didn't even talk about who got nominated on here. But for this particular category, I was kind of like, what? So the nominees were Wicked, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Better Man, Alien Romulus, but the winner was Dune Part 2. First of all, I was surprised that Alien Romulus got nominated. Second of all, I honestly thought Wicked was gonna win only because the movie was really doing well at the box office, and the way how everything looked compared to Captain America Brave New World, Wicked did a little bit better. However, we talked about how Josh Brolin, like in a previous episode, was threatening to quit acting if Dune didn't win an Oscar. And sometimes I feel like, okay, maybe the Academy was like, maybe we need to throw in a few favors, God knows what. And when I say the Academy, that's who hosts the Oscars, which is the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Sciences. That's what it's called. But I think everybody as a collective just said, okay, we kind of still want Josh to continue acting. So yeah, let's give Dune a few awards. So they got Best Visual Effects and Best Sound, which I guess compared to whoever was in there, I was still kind of rooting for Wicked on there. But other than that, like Dune didn't win any other major awards. And I want to say Josh Brolin won it. The person who directed Dune, Denis Villeneuve, I think I'm pronouncing that right or wrong. I think he wanted Denis to win the award for Best Director, but yeah, that didn't happen. Wicked, however, did win 2 awards, one for Best Costume Design, the other one for Best Production Design. For Best Supporting Actor and Actress was literally swept by the same person for the previous award shows, like, the Golden Globes, the SAG-AFTRA Awards, all of them. It was Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain and Zoe Saldana for Emilia Perez. I was like, wow. Kieran Culkin, however, I'm like, shout out to him because he is now an Academy Award winning actor. But just for the specific Oscar award show, literally the movie Anora kind of dominated almost all the categories. So they won Best Film Editing, Best Director, Best Actress, and Best Picture. The sad part is that I have not seen the movie, but the good news is that Anora will be streaming on Hulu on March 17th. So the moment it does get released, I am so curious to watch this movie. And I know we mentioned Wicked. Wicked's also going to be streaming on Peacock on March 21st. So you guys have time. I already watched this, but in case you guys haven't and are interested, just wait until then. And that's all I have for you guys in the movies category. Let's go ahead and talk about TV. Starting off with a new Last of Us trailer. I know like in the beginning, I was so in denial with the events of what's going to lead up to the game itself. And with this most recent trailer, I already know it's gonna happen. but it doesn't make any sense how the storyline can still be extended to, well, I mean, season 3, okay, I think I have an idea, but season 4, like, how in the hell is this series gonna last until then? Supposedly, we did say in the previous episode that the creators think that they can push it for season 4, but I'm like, honestly, you can end it at season 3. I'll be okay. It won't be the same without, but at the same time, I'm like, don't overextend it if it doesn't intertwine with the game itself, And I'll tell you guys some other things that I have for you guys with The Last of Us, the video game, in the gaming category. But for the series itself, like, I feel like, yes, we are going to be getting that one particular scene that a lot of us are not going to be ready for. Kind of like, with Demon Slayer and all of that. But at the same time, this trailer does give you more actions, more clickers, explosions, and the drama that's been going on with the Fireflies. Either way, if you think about it, we're getting closer and closer for the release of season 2. So, The Last of Us season 2 will be coming to HBO Max on April 13th. So, once it does come out, unfortunately, we're only going to be getting the first episode, and then we're going to be going on a schedule after that. But we're going to be talking about it and probably comparing it to the game. The last thing I have for you guys in the TVs category is that the teaser for the live action Powerpuff Girls leaked online. We talked about this a while ago, and I was like, who asked for this? And when I found out that it got canceled, I'm like, thank fucking God. But the teaser for some reason got edited, it got leaked, and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, I wish I could unsee that. But my curiosity did go away. So basically it's about these 3 girls when they were kids. Same thing with the story plot with the Powerpuff Girls. However, the whole series is taking place, I guess, when they're teenagers now or a little bit more adults. And they go their separate ways and they're doing their own things. I think Buttercup was being a cop. Bubbles was working on the streets somewhere in LA. I was like, is she being a hooker? But apparently that wasn't the case. She was just over there trying to make herself famous. I forgot what the hell Blossom was doing. But whenever I saw that Mojo Jojo is in fact not a monkey and a person who happens to have a son, and the son is like seeking revenge on, I don't know what's going on, I'm over here like, since when Mojo Jojo has a son? I don't remember that, Either way, like whenever I was watching it, the way how it looked, it was very cringe. I couldn't keep on watching it, and at the time I was like, you know what, this is not worth my time. Let me just go ahead and move on with my life and pretend that didn't exist. But I'm like, for those that are very curious, it's out there in the internet. I think when I saw the trailer, it was actually on my Facebook, and I don't really go on my Facebook only because of work. So the one time that I do go on Facebook, boom, that was the first thing I saw, and I'm like, what the hell? And then IGN posted about it like a couple hours later, and I was like, okay, so this is legit. I thought it was like some fan edit or something, but no, that was the actual thing. So yeah, if you guys want to watch it, it's out there. And that was all I have for you guys in the TV category. Now let's dive into music. We are going to be talking about Ghosts for a bit, so bear with me. It is the new age of a different Papa now. Like, forget Primo, forget Secondo, forget Terzo, forget Copia. We now have Papa 5 Perpetua. I want to say that's how you pronounce it. Or Perpetua, whatever you want to call it at this point. But the thing that I didn't mention last week's episode, because it was out there literally on YouTube, there was a live stream of a billboard from Ghost in Las Vegas, but it kept jumping back and forth to the same clips. But I want to say one of them was like a screenshot depending the time and day it was. And I want to say it was last Saturday or last Friday. I can't remember when the live stream first started. I did came across another video where people were saying, oh, this is not the first time, Ghost does this. Just keep in mind that it's going to be a really long time until they do something with the live stream. Whether if it's like in the moment of, or they're just going to cut off the feed and then boom, make the announcement of what's coming up. But it's just basically them live streaming to get the attention of people saying, hey, something's coming up from Ghost. And yeah, that's why I was like, I so forgot to mention about it. But whenever Sunday came, I want to say the feed was like frozen for a bit because nothing was moving. And a lot of people kept coming on the chat saying, nothing's going on. What happened to tacos al pastor? I kept seeing that a lot, by the way. And I was like getting hungry for some tacos. But other than that, we finally got the feed cut off. I want to say it was on Monday. And they said, oh, hey, yeah, we finally did what we needed to do. Just keep your eyes peeled for Satanize. And I was like, what? So they literally said, okay, there's a song coming out that's going to be on Tuesday. I want to say it was like technically Tuesday at midnight, but for me, it was Monday at 11 a.m. I couldn't sleep. And I want to say I did knock out like around 10 something right before 11. And I woke up at midnight and I was like, okay, let me see what this is all about. So I was like half asleep watching the music video. And the song didn't click to me at first until now that I was fully conscious the next morning. And I was like, oh, I love this song. But I was not expecting the reveal of Papa 5 Perpetua. Before I even get ahead of myself with everything that's been going on, I just want to point out, in case if you guys didn't know, we're like so into the ghost lore now that you know who's who in the music video. And shout out to one person that posted on TikTok with Live with the 215. This person actually got the receipts of who was the actor that I guess turns into Perpetua. So the actor's name is David Densick. I want to say that's how you pronounce it. He has been in many movies. I think the most primarily one was from No Time to Die from 007 and Chernobyl, the show that I want to say is still available on Max. Definitely go check it out because that's one of my favorites. So he was in there, but then everybody else, I think once you got to see the priest, people were like, wait a second, why does the priest look hella familiar? Because that's fucking Tobias Forge. Of all people, I'm like, finally, we got Tobias in a music video for Ghost. But Tobias was not the only member, I guess you would say, that was also a part of the music video. We also have everybody else that we already kind of unmasked in the band. We got Hayden Scott, who was the drummer, like everybody in the band. Per Erickson and the lead guitar. And then we also have Cosmo Sylvan from the bass guitar. Randy Moore in rhythm guitar. And then lastly, we also had Judy Taylor in backing vocals percussions. For the nuns, also known as the Goulettes, we have Laura Scarborough in backing vocals. Olivia Morel, also backing vocals. And then lastly, Gabrielle Gunn, who happens to be the new member of the Goulettes, replacing Cumulus. I think that's who a lot of people are asking about. But yeah, in the music video, we get to see the way how the new Papa 5 is gonna look, but also the way how everybody else in the band is gonna look, the ghouls and the ghoulettes. And trust me when I say this, wow, they look pretty damn good. I'm already excited to see them live. But the other thing that I didn't even realize was that alongside with the music video Satanize, they also did release chapter 19 into the Ghost Lore in the band's, YouTube channel. And still following the events of Papa 5, still unable to open the freaking door. And everybody's like, well, here are the keys, giving it to Kopi and everything. And now it's like, now it's your turn to go ahead and introduce the video, like Satanize. And Kopi is like, what video? And then like he does the awkward, and like, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that we're still gonna be able to see Copia on here, but it was so adorable. I'm still waiting to see him and Perpetua together in the same scene. Like, I can already see them fighting brother to brother. Keep in mind, if you guys haven't seen right here, right now, like, hello, they're twins, they're twin siblings. Now, here is another thing that I want to point out before I forget. How come Perpetua looks somewhat similar from the cover of Phantomine? If you don't remember, we talked about this where Phantomine is the most recent Ghost album that we got, even though it's filled with covers and all of that. But the album cover itself, you see like this robot looking Papa. And if you were to see the music video, whatever they call it, of Phantom of the Opera, a lot of us assume that maybe we were going to get a resurrection of Terzo, possibly. And then when we see Perpetua, the gloves or his hands, whatever, and then the face mask itself, it looks similar to Phantomine. However, if you look at the paint job at the bottom of Perpetua's chin, it kind of resembles Terzo's makeup. So a lot of people are theorizing maybe Perpetua is a resurrection of Terzo. However, it might not be the case given the fact that Sister Imperator gave birth to twins. And Terzo is not the son of Sister Imperator. I don't know, for the same reason there are a lot of Ghost fans that are theorizing it, but all we can say for right now is that we have a new pop-up and it looks really cool. I can't wait again to see them, all of them, live in August for the Skeletor, which, by the way, tickets are on sale if you haven't gotten them, so please go do so. And just when I thought it couldn't get any better, the announcement of Skeleta is gonna be released on April 25th. That's literally a month and a couple of days, which again, I will be okay as long as it's not like sometime after the summer. I'm good. So I'm excited. And I told you guys literally at the beginning of the year, I knew that Ghost was going to be releasing a potential album, especially when they're going to be announcing a world tour. Now it's no longer Redacted World Tour, it's the Skeletor. But yeah, I am so excited. And I think they leaked the track list for this. So basically, it's going to be a total of 10 songs. Of course, Satanize is in this track list. That is actually number 3 on here. The first song is called Peace Field. The second one is called Lacrima. I had to literally look up the pronunciation because I don't even know how I would have pronounced that one. But remember, 3 is Satanize. Number 4 is Guiding Lights. Number 5 is, which I'm assuming I'm going to pronounce it like in a Spanish kind of feel because it's mostly like Latin/Italian. But I'm assuming is De Profundis Borealis. I want to say that's what it is. Number 6 is Cenotaph, I think. Number 7 is Missilia Amori. Number 8 is Marks of the Devil One. Number 9 is Umbra. And number 10 is Excelsis. And I just realized you can actually pre-save the album wherever you listen to your music. Mine's on Spotify. And that's where the song list is at. And it actually gives you like literally a countdown. So Skeleta, as we're talking right now, Skeleta is going to be released in 46 days, 6 hours, 15 minutes, and 30 something seconds. But by the time this episode comes out, just know it's in 46 days. I'm already excited about it. Hey, if you think about it though, I'm like, great, I get to deal with WrestleMania. And then after that, I get to Damn the Ghost. And I'm so excited already. August needs to hurry up. The next thing I wanted to talk about, it's still Ghost. Keep in mind, we're going to be talking about it for a bit. But one person by the name of self-titled Damber on TikTok posted like, wait a second, have you guys looked at the new Ghost logo? There has some meaning on it, and this person actually went into details, which is perfect. I'm like, great, because I did not notice this. So at the very top of what we call the crucifix, we will actually see Satan, because you could tell that he literally has horn and wings. And he is crowning Papa Neil, you know, being gifted with the papacy, whatever. And that, alongside with that at the bottom, you notice that there are 4 suns in each corner. And obviously there's 4 corners. You can only assume it could be, you know, primo, secondo, terzo, and copia. If you look at the center, you can probably think maybe that is Perpetua in the center part. And then this person says he seems to have stylistic and sonic ties to all the other papas. The skull is connected to all of the others, which, I mean, it's all about Papa Neil, you know. But yeah, this person's like, or I'm just probably delusional. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But I think it's perfect because I did not notice that. And it makes sense because it's also shaping up to the crucifix. And I'm like, damn, Tobias, like, you really outdid yourself with this whole thing. There's so many details on here that I love. However, I don't know, because there are some other skeletons that look like they're doing something, perverted at the same time, but that is also my eyesight. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm very excited of this new era of ghosts. And since we're already talking about this, the last thing I want to mention is that Tobias Forge has been doing a lot of interviews, and one in particular, person asked them, what was the whole purpose of, him banning the phones in concerts? And I love it because we kind of talked about it too. I have nothing against with the phone bans. I am so happy that for once I get to enjoy a concert and live in the moment. And that's exactly what Tobias said. He said, quote, "We had such an engaged crowd where everybody's actually watching the show." And he's referring to when the phones were banned during Right Here, Right Now filming. And I was like, okay, that makes sense, because me, coming from somebody that literally records the entire concert show, I'm like, for once, like, I just want to live into the moment. Whenever I was blogging the videos, for example, for Slipknot and Slaughter Prevail, like, I wanted to, like, see them, but also, like, make sure that I'm getting the right angle on my phone, and then still, like, look at them like, oh my God, it's actually them, But I'm glad that we're doing this with Ghost. And the fun part is that I got pit tickets. So I'm over here like, great. Not only I get to live in the moment, I'm going to be in the pit. So I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I can't see, or getting the right angle for the phone. No, I'm going to be jumping around like nothing. And we get to listen to new music live. So even better. So yeah, like, it makes sense. And I think some other music artists should probably start implementing it. But of course, we have so many fans that are like against it. Like, oh, I need my phone 24/7. Like, bro, no. Just live into the moment. Especially like me, for example, I've seen Ghosts. This will be my third time. So I'm like, the first 2 times I already recorded it. If not, if I want to see them live again, there's Right Here, Right Now. I can always rewatch that. And now I'm like, okay, this will be my third ritual. Finally, third time's the charm. I get to live into the moment. So yeah, thank you, Tobias. This is why we freaking love you. And enough about Ghosts. Now let's talk about Sleep Token. In case if you probably missed out last week, we talked about how Sleep Token released like 2 sides, and you get to choose between House Viridian or Feathered Host, which I sign up for both because that is the luxury of having different emails. And then I followed their social medias, which I got accepted into both of them. So now I was able to see what content they post. So earlier this week, they both posted the same video of what looks like a flamingo. And in the background, you hear like a little melody playing. So it's like, oh, what's going on? They had a link. They actually posted this on their story, and it said prepare. And when you click on the link, it says prepare for a new offering. And it says pre-save either on Spotify or Apple. And I'm just like, oh shit, like, pre-save what? When I click on pre-save on Spotify, I didn't see anything. It just says, whatever. And then behold the divide. So when I clicked on it, I came back. Same thing with gratitude, whatever. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, am I going to get a new song or something? Because how I mentioned earlier with Ghost, you can actually see like a track list and all of that. But with this, with Sleep Token, you don't see anything. It's just, oh, you're giving permission to Sony to save songs, and that's it, So I don't know what to expect. And then all of a sudden, then they both posted a photo with, the theme of the side, whatever. And it was all Morse code. And thanks to a lot of Sleep Token fans, they actually did posted what it looked like were coordinates. So I pasted the coordinates on Google Maps, and it took me to like a little area kind of near Griffin Observatory that's over there in LA. And one fan actually went to go look at the coordinates, and it was like a sticker from the respective sides, and it would take you to a whole different link. Those links are different, again, for the houses. So on one of them, it was an image that says moon. And it's funny though, because the color of the art piece is still giving House Viridian. But I want to say moon was belonging to the feather host link. And then the House Viridian link took you to a whole different image. Same colors and everything, but that one said blood. And when you actually combine the pictures, you get the full art piece. And it's just like, I want to say it's symmetry to what looks like the hammers. And a part of me was thinking, oh, is this like something from like the summoning, you know, that one figure that they had in the music video? And then same thing in the center portion, it's like highlighting that same hammer. But everything's all symmetry, all lined up. If you actually zoom in a little bit close, you kind of see the flamingos shaped as thorns, you know, got roses. And I really don't know how to explain it. You just got to see the image. More reasons why y'all need to follow me on Instagram, because I posted it on my story. But I'm pretty sure if you were to go like on Reddit or something, you'll find the actual image. But we're like thinking, what is this? Like the album artwork of the next upcoming album. But also keep in mind with the keywords, blood and moon. Like, what is all that about? Either way, again, like I mentioned last week, they also did release like the song list sheet of a melody. And I played it for a little bit, but I didn't want to, you know, get copyrighted strike from YouTube just for that. But it's out there for y'all to listen to. So I'm like, okay, no one likes the tease. But then again, it's Sleep Token. So I'm like, are we also going to be getting new music from Sleep Token? Like, come on, 2025 is shaping to be really good. I did see on the comment section, one person said supposedly they have a feeling that a new single from Sleep Token will be coming out this Friday, March 14th. So we'll probably talk about it again, maybe the following week, only because Deftones is next week, but we'll see. But again, it's a good time to be a rock fan, because, you know, we're over here hyped over Satanized by Ghost, and then boom, if you're also listening to Sleep Token, you might get new music. Hopefully this Friday, we will see. And speaking of new music, now we're gonna shift gears to Slaughter to Prevail. So, in case if you guys didn't know, Knotfest just wrapped up in Australia. I've been keeping up with it for the past couple of days, and I've been seeing a lot of videos from the band Slaughter to Prevail. One of them in particular, obviously, they're having so much fun, you know, performing their new song that hasn't even been released in Australia, and I'm over here crying, you know, in the United States. That song, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's basically Russian for bone, like B-O-N-E. And I looked it up on Google Translate, and it says that it's pronounced Kost. But again, I'm not Russian, but still, when I listened to the intro part of the song, it's reminded me of Los from Rammstein, which they have a habit of doing it. I mean, there's Behilith, Mein Herz brennt. But yeah, when I hear it, like you hear like I want to say it's acoustic guitar kind of in a way. And that's how it starts. It's that little rhythm, again, giving me hints of Los. And then all of a sudden, bam, it's just hardcore. And I'm like, oh my God, for the love of me, release Grizzly already. I've been spamming a lot of the videos that they've been posting either on Instagram or on TikTok. I'm like, bro, Grizzly, anytime now, you know. And hey, even better, just saying, okay, I will be listening to Skeleta on April 25th, right? What if Sleep Token releases their album during the summer? What if Grizzly releases in the summer? Oh my God, what a time, I swear. This year is going to be great for me, all I'm saying. And I'm still waiting for that North American tour, okay? Just because Grizzly's probably going to be coming out this year. I'm praying, hoping Slaughter to Prevail, you know, does their North American tour, because I'm over here crying over the fact that I can't see them in Incarceration. I can't see them in Vans Warped Tour, nor I can't see them in Aftershock. And that is going to be the next thing we're going to be talking about. So Aftershock released their lineup, and I'm crying internally once again. In case if you guys didn't know, Aftershock is going to be taking place on October 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th of this year in Sacramento, California at the Discovery Park. That lineup is stacked, so let's go ahead and get into it. On Thursday, headlining that day will be Blink 182, joining with All Time Low, Taking Back Sunday, Alkaline Trio, Good Charlotte, All American Rejects, Hollywood Undead, Bowling for Soup, Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Acid Bath, Power Trip, Carcass, Hatebreed, Throne, and more. I'm not gonna go into every single band on here. And then on Friday, headlining that day is the band that I'm gonna see next week, Deftones, which I'm glad I'm like, okay, that I can skip. But then they're also gonna be joined along with Turnstile, Knock Loose, the Dillinger Escape Plan, or ESC Plan. And then they're also gonna be with Basement, A Perfect Circle, Lamb of God, Bruce Dickinson, Kerry King, Fear Factory, Lacuna Coil, Dream Theater, Testament, Exodus, Chiodos, Of Mice and Men, and many more. And then on Saturday, this is where I'm, crying internally. We got Korn, Gojira, Chevelle, Slaughter to Prevail. Of course. Saliva, Nonpoint, Bad Omens, 3 Days Grace, Trivium, Dayseeker, Kitty, Memphis Mayfire, Powerwolf, Dragon Force, August Burns Red, Dying Fetus, Dying Wish, and many more. And then lastly, on Sunday, we got Bring Me the Horizon, Marilyn Manson, Motionless in White, Black Bill Rides, Story of the Year, The Plotting You, Sleep Theory, Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, In This Moment, Machine Head, Static X, Flyleaf, Hinder, Crossfade, Sick Puppies, Rev Theory, War, and many more. Tickets are now on sale alongside Way Hotel packages, so go ahead and spend your hard-earned money. And since we were just talking about Bring Me the Horizon and Motionless in White, we might as well tell you guys the next announcement. So, Bring Me the Horizon announced the next tour. It's called USA Essential Program. And this one is going to be joined with very special guests, Motionless in White, The Plotting You, and Amira El Fiki. I think. I never heard of them, but still. So far, the dates that they already announced, it starts off on September 21st at Louisville, Kentucky. We do have a Houston stop, by the way, and that's going to be in Toyota Center on September 26th. And then their last stop on the tour is on October 3rd in Los Angeles at the Into a Dome, right before the stop that they have at Aftershock Festival. And yes, those tickets are on sale as we speak. Thank God that for my date, it's not sold out. I'm still debating if I want to go, only because it's on a Friday and it's going to be right after work. So we will see. The next tour announcement we have for you guys, and this is just for the Canadian audience. So 3 Days Grace and Bolby will be co-headlining the tour. They're calling it 3 bands, 3 countries, 1 epic night. But I'm over here like, where's the 3 countries? Because I'm only seeing Canada. They're going to be joined with special guest Wage War, and they're going to be kicking off their Canadian tour in Vancouver on June 7th and making it their way until June 22nd in Ottawa, Ontario. The pre-sale will be kicking off on March 10th, so that will be tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled if you guys are interested in going. And now the last thing I have for you guys in the music category is the announcement of Rock the Country Festival. It says a festival for we the people. Yeah, anyways. So basically headlining this festival is going to be Kid Rock, Nickelback, Hank Williams Jr., and Leonard Skinner. They're going to be joined with a lot of musical artists such as Travis Tritt, Aaron Lewis and the Stateliners, Ella Lange, Big and Rich, Jody Messina, and many more, because these are some people that I never heard of. This festival will be kicking off on April 4th and 5th in Livingston, Louisiana. And then their last stop will be in Anderson, South Carolina in July 25th to the 26th. If you guys are interested, those tickets are on sale at rockthecountry.com. And that's all I have for you guys in the music category. Now let's talk about gaming, starting with Twisted Metal. And no, it's not a new game. it's what could have been. So this is coming from an article from IGN where a former UI developer at Sony actually uploaded a handful of screenshots to their online portfolio, but for some reason the link no longer works. And it says that most of the images are blurred and labeled as, quote, under NDA. And this project was called Project Copper. Rumor has it was that was going to be the next Twisted Metal game. However, the reason why Sony decided to scrap the game, usually it was because of the layoffs that they had. I think they let go, I don't know, like hundreds of employees. But then when you start to realize, wait a second, the next Twisted Metal game wasn't mostly like involving cars like in the previous game. It was kind of different. So the developers said that Project Copper was a, quote, third-person vehicular action combat game based on the classic IP owned by PlayStation and developed by Firesprite, which is the developer that we were just talking about. They also added that, quote, it had third-person shooter mechanics wrapped with third-person vehicle combat with the objective of being the last one standing. If you think about it, sure, because this was supposedly scrapped during the time where Battle Royale games were a thing. So I'm like, this would have been different for the Twisted Metal kind of franchise. But at the same time, I'm like, would this game have like a campaign mode, kind of like with the previous Twisted Metal, and then have like a storyline going towards it, you know? Because me personally, I love the campaign in Twisted Metal for PS3, and I wish they would have had that in the next upcoming Twisted Metal game that I thought it was going to be for PS4. But now I'm just like, would they revive the game series for PlayStation 5? I don't know. Me, honestly, though, I'm like, don't even freaking worry about PlayStation. Just freaking do it for all platforms. Have it for Xbox. Have it for Steam. Just have it everywhere, because I don't want to trade my console just yet. And even then, IGN and probably me are pretty sure we're not going to be getting a Twisted Metal game anytime soon. But I'm hoping if the success with season 2 of the Twisted Metal series, maybe potentially there might be talks. I'm hoping, because I do miss playing that game. The next thing we need to talk about is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. If you guys actually pre-ordered the deluxe edition of this game, not only you will get 3 days early access, but it says here, you'll also be able to skate as Doomslayer and the Revenant. What the hell? Tony and Doom? What the hell? Now, I'm not a big fan of, skating games, but hey, if you guys are interested, this game is available on July 11th, so might as well go ahead and pre-order if you want to get your hands on it. I'm gonna try to find the gameplay just to see how that looks, but I was close, Tony. You almost got me there because I'm a really huge Doom fan, but yeah, not for this one. And then the last thing I have for you guys in the gaming's category is that Neil Druckmann says that part 3 of The Last of Us might not happen. He told Variety, quote, I guess the only thing I would say is don't bet on there being any more of The Last of Us. This could be it. And because of this announcement, there is a lot of discussion happening in the comment section. For example, on one of the posts from IGN, one person said possibly that Neil is lying. Some people did agree with it. And then another person said the story isn't finished. How can you just get this far and then drop it? And people were saying, like, one person said, games getting canceled nowadays. Another says, I mean, to be devil's advocate, what route could they go with Ellie now? She found somewhat of closure and made peace with her trauma. Not the best ending by any means, but nothing really to go for that's left open-ended. And then another person actually followed from the previous comment saying exactly, where part 3 is gonna go, right? My feeling is that after part 2 endings, Abby and Ellie with a form of reluctant alliance against another antagonist. And then I'm gonna end it with one final comment, and I do agree with this one. It says, what do you mean it's not finished? Part 2's ending is perfect. It's bleak as fuck, but it's an ending. Like, it's the same way how we talked about it in the series. Like, you can't really push it for season 4. And same thing with the game. I feel like, yeah, part 2 should be the ending for The Last of Us. Anything more above that is just gonna ruin the storyline for the franchise. So I feel like it's safer to just leave it at part 2. And that's all I have for you guys in the gaming category. And now let's talk about wrestling. First and foremost, we gotta congratulate Lex Luger, as he is gonna be the next person to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2025. They actually asked Lex Luger to see who he would want to induct him into the Hall of Fame, and he said, quote, Stinger. Like, he wants Sting to induct him, and I'm over here like, would they let him? I mean, we've seen Billy Gunn while he was in AEW. I'm pretty sure they could make an exception with Sting, but we will see next month. Now, the next thing I need to talk about is what happened in this past episode on Raw on Netflix. CM Punk's promo. Oh my God. Literally, he expressed his hatred over bald men. And I feel like some people are already making jokes and memes. Hell, I've seen the Photoshop pictures of people suggesting that Cena might go bald too, and that's why Punk is just attacking, you know. And that was another thing. So I know everybody's still talking about Cena turning heel, right? One person was saying, oh, like maybe Cena was just hating on Cody because he had hair and Cena's losing it, you know, he has like that bald spot. The other part was like, well, to be fair, Cena attacked Cody because Cody ended up cursing and telling Rock to go fuck himself. So Cena was still being a babyface and doing us a favor because there were kids present. I don't even know. But with Punk's promo, it is giving a lot of hints that, potentially speaking, that favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk could be a way for him to still headline WrestleMania. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we still have that match where he needs to hurry up and wrap up his beef with Seth Rollins. So tomorrow is going to be a steel cage match between these two. And trust me, it was hilarious that they kept beating each other up. And with tons of security, that still didn't stop them. But they're saying, okay, what if Punk ends up winning? Bury the hatchet with Seth Rollins, okay, right? And then he cashes in that favor, making it a triple threat match between Cody Rhodes, John Cena, and now CM Punk. That could possibly happen because Paul Heyman does have that power. And since we're already talking about that, let's also not forget Roman Reigns. There's also a possibility they want to go ahead and incorporate that beef with Roman, Seth, and maybe Drew McIntyre. Make it another triple threat match. But again, it's all theory. But they still want to bring back Roman. But then again, we don't know because last time we checked, he was injured. So there's that. And we all had so many predictions. But Papa H said, oh, you thought. Because next thing we know, this past episode, as we mentioned from Raw on Netflix, Rhea Ripley was going up against Io Sky for the WWE Women's World Championship. We all thought Rhea was going to retain. But again, Papa H said, you thought. Next thing you know, Io ended up defeating Rhea, becoming the new Women's World Champion. And now people are like, are we going to get a triple threat match between Bianca, Io, and Rhea? How could this possibly be? If you pay close attention, like very at the end where the camera's panning at Rhea, Rhea's literally yelling at herself. She's not yelling at Io and this, and that. She's yelling at her own ego, and she was saying, how can you be this stupid, this, and that? And some people are thinking, oh my God, are we going to get heel Rhea too? But at the same time, no matter what side Rhea ends up going, people are still going to support her no matter what. But it's like, if you think about it, Rhea was really great as a heel. Even though a lot of people supported her, that for some reason her character shifted into babyface. But I feel like Rhea wants to be heel entering WrestleMania, get her championship back, and still continuing being a heel. At the same time, again, I don't know if it's gonna work only because the fans love her. I can't wait to see it. And at the same time, I feel like Bianca for sure is definitely not gonna win that match. Why do I say this? Is because she's having this different storyline that everybody's really looking close into, and that's my other shift that we're gonna do, is this little love triangle between Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill. Now that we found out, which we kind of already knew, that Naomi was the one that attacked Jade Cargill, she literally cut this promo to Bianca. Literally tears were shed. I was like, the Oscars were literally last week. What's going on over here? And Naomi's defense was basically saying, oh, I did it for you. I did it for us, whatever. And then she was over there like, I should have pushed you harder. We could have been better. But no, we lost the titles. But then again, it was Naomi who ended up being pinned and not Bianca. So, anywho, long story short, she pulled the Rikishi promo. People were making memes out of it. It's like, wait a second, this sounds familiar. Obviously, Rikishi is her father-in-law, so obviously she just decided to pull a page out of his book and bring it into here. Now, people were also quick to point out that Bianca and Naomi were kind of wearing black. And whenever Jade Cargill came out, she came out in this white outfit with red, making it look like it was blood. But when we look back to Elimination Chamber, Naomi and Bianca were wearing white. And when Jade was walking into the ring, she was wearing black. So people are saying, maybe potentially, we will also get heel Bianca. It's like, what the hell? We're getting this shift that we're not used to. And it's like, oh my God. But at the same time, it's like, oh, if John Cena can pull it, we can actually do it with everybody else. Because we haven't seen heel Bianca. It's been a minute that we saw heel Rhea, but at the same time, it's like we needed to get that back soon. And other than that, it's like, okay, if we were to get heel Bianca, maybe eventually she will betray Jade, and Jade is going to have this storyline between these two. And more reasons why the WWE World Women's Championship shouldn't be around Bianca because of this whole little entertaining thing that's happening. It would make sense that it's beef between Rhea and Io, but at the same time too, that storyline kind of didn't make sense. Like, I get it, they were pushing that whole like, oh, Io and Rhea have been, bumping heads for quite some time, but every time they do fight in the ring, Io's always winning. So it's like, oh, here comes another reason why Io is gonna end up taking that championship away from Rhea, which, by the way, Io is the first woman to hold the new champions. She had the WWE Women's Champion, and now she has the WWE Women's World Champion. And honestly, it's not just Papa H doing the twisting with these characters. Shawn Michaels did the same exact thing, and it was on NXT when Shawn Spears ended up defeating Tony D'Angelo for the NXT North American Championship. Oh, and then you thought, oh, okay, that was just NXT. No, we also got it on Friday Night SmackDown when LA Knight took the championship away from Shinsuke Nakamura and is the new United States champion. So I'm like, what is going on? We usually never had title changes on regular shows. We usually will get them like at PLEs, but they're like, well, we're like literally almost a month away from WrestleMania. Sweet Jesus, I'm like, I need to keep watching wrestling because you just never know what could happen at this point. But anywho, the thing I still haven't seen is freaking John Cena at least breaking his silence. Like, I get it, we were all talking about this earlier, but I'm like, I'm gonna leave it for last because I'm trying to see when we're gonna be able to see him in WWE. I get it, he's part-time, he never has time, but Sportskeeda released the schedule of John Cena confirmed dates. So we will see him not this coming Monday, but the following on March 17 on Raw on Netflix. Then we're also going to get him the following Monday on March 24, same thing, Raw. And then March 31st on Raw again. Keep in mind though that these next coming weeks, they're going to be kicking off their European tour. It's going to be live shows though. However, here in the United States, we're going to be the last ones to see it. Like, it's going to be pre-recorded for sure on SmackDown. But I heard that when it comes to Raw, It's gonna be streaming live on Netflix the same time it's being broadcasted elsewhere. So they could be in Spain, they could be in Germany, wherever. But we're gonna get it in their time, meaning that we can watch Raw on Netflix like in the afternoon. We're talking like 3 p.m. Maybe the earliest is at 12. But back to this schedule, the next day that he's confirmed to appear is obviously April 20th on WrestleMania. And then after that, we're getting SmackDown only. So April 25th, he'll be in SmackDown. May 25th will be at Saturday night's main event. Then May 30th, June 13th, and June 20th, all on SmackDown. So I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to still keep seeing him, just not this coming week, but it's going to kick off afterwards. And with that being said, that wraps up this week's episode. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. I still don't know if there's going to be a podcast episode next week, so yeah, I think I'm gonna try to do like bi-weekly episodes. So as you can tell right now, we didn't even hit the hour mark. That says a lot. But there was really not that much going on this past week. But I did ramble a lot on Ghost and Sleep Token. I'm debating to see if maybe this year will be like bi-weekly episodes. Only because, yeah, my weekends are starting to get busy now that I'm seeing somebody. Yeah, I was like, no, I can make time for the podcast, even if I'm in a relationship or something. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to explore and have fun. You know, I got to live my life now that I'm no longer in my 20s. Just saying. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still debating on it, but for sure next week is going to be hectic only because Deftones is going to be performing. And if you guys are in the Houston area, just know I will be at the Rodeo Houston on Tuesday, March the 18th. I will be seeing Post Malone live, so you guys might see me there. But I think I'm going to be at the rodeo one more time. I just don't know exactly what day. I'm not going to tell you guys when too. But yeah, that's going to be a whole different date. So yeah. But anywho, I don't know what next week could possibly entitle to besides the fact that we might possibly get new music from Sleep Token. Everybody's talking about it already on social media, so we will see. I hope you guys did enjoy this, and as always, I will talk to you guys on the next one.